Maya slipped into the quiet art studio long after closing hours, her footsteps echoing across the marble floor. She wasn't supposed to be there. Technically, the studio belonged to the elite Crestview Art Institute, a place meant for privileged students, not for someone like her who worked 2 jobs just to survive. But for Maya, art wasn't a hobby. It was the only piece of herself she still owned. She turned on a small lamp, the only light she dared to use. Soft golden rays illuminated the blank canvas before her. Maya exhaled shakily. The day had been brutal. Customers yelling at her during her cafe shift, her landlord asking for rent she didn't have, and a scholarship committee emailing a cold rejection. Again. But when she held a paintbrush, none of that mattered. She dipped the brush into deep blue paint, dragging it across the canvas with long, emotional strokes. The world around her dissolved. Her hands moved on instinct, guided by bottled-up sadness she never had the chance to voice. Her messy bun loosened, strains of hair falling over her face as she painted faster and faster. Frustration, hope, fear, all blending in shades of blue, gold, and violet. What she didn't know was that she wasn't alone. Hidden behind the large glass partition on the upper level of the studio, Alexander Reed stood silently. He had come to inspect the institute he secretly funded, expecting to see locked doors and empty rooms. Instead, he found a young woman painting with a rawness he had never witnessed, not even at his most expensive auctions. He watched her stunned. Her talent wasn't polished or pretentious, it was honest, real. The kind of art people didn't learn, they lived. Maya paused, stepping back from the canvas. Tears shimmered in her eyes, catching the lamplight. "I just want one chance," she whispered to the empty room, thinking no one could hear, but someone did. Alexander's heart clenched. He wasn't used to feeling moved by anything, let alone a stranger's whispered heartbreak. He leaned closer, studying her strokes, her posture, the emotion vibrating through every color. This girl, she had something rare, and for the first time in years, the billionaire felt compelled to step out of the shadows. But he didn't. Not yet. Instead, he watched, silently, carefully, knowing that what he had just discovered might change her life forever. The next morning, Mia woke up before sunrise, her body still aching from the previous night's double shift. She had barely slept 4 hours, but rent was due in 5 days, and she needed every extra hour of work she could get. So she pushed herself up, tied her hair into a loose bun, and headed out into the cold morning air. Across town, Adrian Blackwood, yes, that Blackwood, the reclusive millionaire known for building companies faster than people could follow, sat in the back of his sleek black SUV. He hadn't slept much either. Something about the girl he had seen yesterday, the girl dancing by herself on the rooftop after her shift, stayed in his mind. Her movements weren't random, they were skilled, emotional, painful, beautiful. It was the dance of someone fighting battles no one saw. He found himself replaying that moment over and over. The grace, the loneliness, the feeling that she wasn't just dancing, she was desperately trying not to drown. His curiosity had turned into concern, and his concern into something he wasn't ready to name. So instead of heading to his office, he told his driver, "Take me back to Riverside Apartments." The driver's eyebrows lifted slightly. "Sir? The same building from yesterday?" "Yes." Mia, unaware she was being watched again, hurried into the bakery where she worked mornings. She hated this job, not because of the work, but because of her boss, Mrs. Coulson, who acted like kindness was something sold only on holidays. The moment Mia stepped inside, Mrs. Coulson snapped, "You're late." "It's 5:29, Mia said softly. "My shift starts at 5:30. "You should arrive early," Mrs. Coulson shot back. "People with your background can't afford mistakes." Mia lowered her gaze. She knew what your background meant. Poor, alone, nobody. Adrian happened to step inside at that exact moment, pretending to browse. What he heard made anger rise in his chest. Not the loud, explosive kind, but the cold, dangerous kind. He watched Mia work for the next hour. She moved with quiet efficiency, handling customers with a warm smile even though her eyes were tired. She apologized when she didn't need to. She thanked people who were rude. She worked as if her life depended on it. Because it did. And Adrian Blackwood, who had everything, realized one thing. Mia didn't need saving. She needed someone to see her. And he already did. For several seconds, neither Mia nor Alexander moved. The storage room felt smaller somehow, warmer despite the cold concrete floor and flickering fluorescent lights. Mia's heartbeat thundered in her chest. Billionaires didn't kneel on the ground picking up papers. They didn't speak softly. They didn't look at people the way he was looking at her now. Like she mattered. She tried to compose herself, brushing her hair back with shaky hands. "Sir, I'm really sorry you saw that," she whispered, cheeks burning. "I shouldn't have." "Stop," Alexander said gently. His tone was calm, steady, nothing like the intimidating CEO she had always heard about. He placed one last stack of papers on the table, then slowly stood up. "You don't have to apologize for being human," he said, "not to me, not to anyone." Mia's throat tightened. She'd spent years hiding her emotions, bottling everything inside because weakness got you fired, judged, or dismissed. But here, with him, she didn't feel small. She felt seen. Alexander stepped back, giving her space. "How long have you been working these hours?" Mia hesitated. "Months." "And your boss?" His jaw clenched. "Does he always make you stay this late?" She nodded, embarrassed. "He says it's part of the job. I need the overtime." The millionaire exhaled slowly, a controlled breath that carried anger he rarely expressed. Not at her, but at the system he himself had built without realizing what people suffered beneath it. "You should have told someone," he said. "I didn't think anyone would care," Mia replied honestly. "People like me, we're invisible." Alexander stared at her for a long moment. Then he said something she never expected. "Not to me." Her breath hitched again. He rubbed the back of his neck, suddenly unsure of himself. A strange sight for a man known for confidence and power. "Mia, I want to help you, but I don't want you to think this is about the job." "What do you mean?" she asked softly. He looked at her with a mix of vulnerability and determination. "I saw you long before tonight," he admitted. "In the elevator, in the lobby, working quietly while others ignored you. You carry yourself like someone who's been fighting alone for a long time." Mia swallowed hard. "I admire that," he finished. Her cheeks warmed. "Why would someone like you admire someone like me?" Alexander stepped closer, his voice low. "Because strength doesn't always look like boardrooms and power. Sometimes it looks like a girl staying late to take care of everyone except herself." A silence settled between them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was electric. Finally, he extended his hand. "Come upstairs with me. I want to fix what's been happening to you, and after that, maybe we can talk, really talk." Mia stared at his hand, then into his eyes. For the first time in a very long time, she didn't feel afraid. She slipped her hand into his. Warm, firm, safe. As they walked out of the storage room together, Mia realized her life wasn't falling apart that night. It was just beginning.